Today's lesson is Dialogue Focus, Caring for Clothing. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And my name is Helen.
And today we're going to care for our clothing. We're going to take care of our clothes. And one way we can take care of our clothes, of course, is to wash them on a regular basis so they don't get so stinky. But also sometimes when we eat and drink, we might spill things on those clothes. So we need to get rid of those stains.
Yes, and caring for clothing is something that everybody should know how to do because it's not just a matter of throwing your pieces of clothing into the washing machine. Sometimes if you have a stubborn spot, you need a special procedure to get that spot out. For instance, my daughter, when she went away to college, she sent me so many text messages about doing the laundry because she had never thought about the details before. So I was the one who did the laundry for her, and she had to learn how to do the laundry when she went away.
Indeed, that is a skill that you need to have. And fortunately for most young people these days, we can all use machines. But of course, my wife's parents grew up during a time when you had to wash all your clothes by hand. And I tried that for a while when I first moved to Taiwan because the first apartment I lived in did not have a washing machine. And that is hard work. It's really hard to make your clothes clean, especially those collars. Trying to get those collars clean and to try to wash away all that dirt from the collars, that's quite difficult. So yes, I've got great respect for people who have to wash clothes by hand. And, of course, I'm very grateful to the washing machine that we now have at home. But, of course, as I said, sometimes we spill things on those clothes, and it's difficult to get those stains out, like blood or coffee or tea or something. So that's what our conversation is all about today. Let's listen to part 1. We're crying over spilled coffee, and this is a conversation between Rick and Dina, and they're at a cafe drinking coffee and chatting.
Caring for clothing. Crying over spilled coffee. Rick and Dina are in a cafe, drinking coffee and chatting. Yeah, I took a bunch of photos while I was there. I was doing a daily Instagram post for a while, a street photography kind of deal, but I eventually lost interest.
Can I see some of the photos? I'd be interested to see what kinds of things caught your eye.
Sure, let me just pull up my Instagram. Hang on. You can scroll down from here.
No, that's my favorite jacket. Quick, hand me some napkins.
Oh man, it's everywhere. And coffee stains too. I have a pair of cream chinos at home to prove it.
What a mess. Ugh, and the milk is going to go all sour and smelly. This is so annoying. Hey, is your phone okay?
Yeah, it's fine. But you should take your jacket to the dry cleaners as soon as possible. You don't want the stain to set.
Yeah, I'll try to go this afternoon.
大家好，第一部分我们看到单字 photography， 这个字是名词，指摄影、摄影业或是照相。像是 Marjorie studied photography at art school and she now works for a travel magazine. Marjorie 在艺术学校读摄影，然后她现在为旅游杂志工作。或是 Steve asked a friend for some tips to improve his photography skills. Steve 请朋友教他一些改善照相技巧的诀窍。另外补充一个相关名词 photographer, P-H-O-T-O-G-R-A-P-H-E-R, photographer, 意思是摄影师。例如 Emma is looking for a good photographer to shoot her wedding. Emma 正在找一位好摄影师为她的婚礼拍照。接着我们看到动词 scroll， 指在荧幕上滚动。像是 I scrolled through all my emails and read the most interesting ones first. 我卷动页面浏览我所有的电子邮件，先看最有趣的那些。另外这个字也可以当名词，指卷轴或是长卷纸。举例来说 There are 4 scrolls hanging on the walls in the basement. 地下室的墙壁上挂了4幅卷轴。再来我们看到单字 stain， 这个字是动词，意思是留下污渍。像是 I accidentally stained my white shirt when I spilled coffee on it. 当我不小心将咖啡溅到我的白衬衫上时，留下了污渍。或是 The cat knocked the wine glass over with its tail, staining Wilma's shirt. 猫尾巴扫到玻璃杯，红酒洒了出来，弄脏 Wilma 的衣服。另外，这个字也可以当名词，指污渍或是污点。举例来说 I hope this stain will come out of my white shirt. 我希望我白衬衫上的这个污渍可以消除。
And welcome back. So today's dialogue focus is caring for clothing, and the title of part 1 is crying over spilled coffee. So this title here is actually a play on an idiomatic expression, which is to cry over spilled milk. And that expression means there is no point in being upset over something that has already happened. So if somebody is regretting something that they've done or something negative that has happened in the past, and it's already happened and they can't do anything about it, you can say, there's no use crying over spilled milk. Just move on.
And Rick begins the conversation by saying, yeah, I took a bunch of photos while I was there. I was doing a daily Instagram post for a while, a street photography kind of deal, but I eventually lost interest. So this is part of their conversation. He took a bunch of pictures or photos while he was at a certain place, and he was doing it for a daily Instagram post. And he's describing it as a street photography kind of deal, which means they were photos that were kind of to be posted on Instagram, and they were photos using the street photography style, which means basically you take pictures of strangers on the street to get interesting compositions.
Yes, photography here is the activity of taking photographs or pictures using a camera. You can also use this word to refer to the skill of photography, or you can refer to the process of photography, which is the act or the process of doing that activity of taking photos. So a street photography kind of deal, well, first of all, kind of here is a contraction of the two words kind of, which means sort of. And Rick was in this particular place, and he was taking photos every day of the streets, of what he was coming across, walking down the street. And it was that kind of situation, that kind of deal.
Indeed. Lots of photographers are street photographers. They're always looking for an interesting composition, and usually they're pictures of strangers on the street in different kinds of situations. But he lost interest. He took some pictures for a while, but he got bored with it. Dina says, well, can I see some of the photos? I'd be interested to see what kinds of things caught your eye. Caught here is the past tense of the verb to catch. To catch one's eye just means it attracts your attention. Yeah, what are the things that you saw that you thought would make a good picture? Was it a pretty girl? Was it a beggar on the street? Was it a pile of garbage? Yeah, what sort of things caught your eye?
And Rick says, sure, let me pull up my Instagram. So pull up means let me open my Instagram account. Hang on. Hang on means to wait a second. So sure, let me get my Instagram account open. Just please wait a second. And he holds out his phone for Dina to see.
And he says you can scroll down from here. That's what we do on our smartphones. We scroll up or we scroll down by swiping our fingers up or swiping them down. And Dana reaches for Rick's phone and knocks her coffee, in the process spilling it on the denim jacket she had placed on the empty chair at the table. Boy, is she a klutz. Boy, is she clumsy. She wasn't watching what she was doing. Clumsy fool. So she spilled that coffee on her denim jacket. Boy, you don't want to do that, do you?
No, you don't want to do that. And Dina realizes she made a big mistake, and she says, no, that's my favorite jacket. Quick, hand me some napkins. So after she spills coffee on her jacket, she says, I really love that jacket. That's my favorite jacket. And she asks Rick to give her some napkins so she can wipe up the coffee.
Indeed, that's what you want to do. And of course, you need to act fast if you spill something on your clothing, because if you don't act fast, then the stain will be more difficult to wash out in the future. So quick, give me some napkins. And Rick says, oh man, it's everywhere. My goodness, the spilled coffee is everywhere. He does hand Dina some napkins. And he goes on to say, and coffee stains too. So if you have something in your clothing, it could be in your carpet or in your furniture, but if you have a spot there that came there from spilling something on it, then that would be a stain. And, of course, you want to get rid of that stain. You want to remove the stain. And here Rick says, I have a pair of cream chinos at home to prove it. Chinos are kind of sorts of pants, I guess, or trousers that are made from a light cotton fabric, and he spilled coffee on them and probably was unable to get the stain out.
Right. So here the word stain can be a noun, which is the spot that is created by a liquid on a piece of clothing or surface, and coffee definitely stains. So here stain is a verb. A liquid that stains is a liquid that causes spots to be left on a surface, and sometimes these stains are difficult to get out. So other liquids that stain are wine. Wine stains very easily, and wine stains are difficult to get out. And you also have tea. Tea stains too.
And spaghetti sauce. So one time I spilled spaghetti sauce on one of my nice shirts, and I never did get that stain out. They are stubborn stains. And sometimes, of course, if you have a stain, you might be able to remove them with something called a stain remover or a spot remover. It's a special kind of chemical that might help, it might not, who knows. Okay, well, here's what Dina says. She says, what a mess. Yes, when things are not in order, when you have stains or things all over the place, you can say this. What a mess. Boy, is it a mess here. And she says, ugh. And the milk is going to go all sour and smelly. So I guess there's milk mixed in with the coffee, and the milk will be part of the stain as well. And the milk will go sour, and so the stain will not only look bad, but it will smell bad as well.
Right. And she says, this is so annoying. So here, annoying is a word that refers to a person or a thing or a situation that makes you feel angry or impatient. So often when you're on the bus or taking a plane ride somewhere, there's a baby sitting next to you and that baby won't stop crying. So you might think that baby is so annoying because it won't stop crying and it's making so much noise.
Exactly, or someone is making strange noises all the time. They're coughing or they're farting or something, and those things can be quite annoying as well. And she has a question. Hey, is your phone okay? Yes, I spilled some coffee on your phone. Is your phone okay? He checks the phone and he says, yeah, it's fine. There's no damage. But you should take your jacket to the dry cleaners as soon as possible. So the dry cleaners is a store that specializes in cleaning clothes without actually making them wet. Hence the name dry cleaners. You want to take very nice clothing to those places to have them washed, because if you wash them in water, they'll probably get all wrinkly and they'll never look as good.
Right. So you would take a suit or a jacket or some valuable piece of clothing that can't really be washed with liquid to a dry cleaners. Dry cleaners usually use chemicals to wash clothing items. And Dina says, yeah, I'll try to go this afternoon. So probably as soon as she leaves Rick after their coffee meeting, she's going to go to a dry cleaners and try to get her denim jacket cleaned.
And that's what they're going to do in part 2, visiting the dry cleaners, or at least Dina's going to do that. So let's listen now to their conversation.
Visiting the dry cleaners. Dina visits the dry cleaners to have the stain looked at.
Excuse me, I spilled coffee on my jacket and I need to have it dry cleaned. Do you think you can remove this?
Yes, that shouldn't be a problem. This kind of spot cleaning is generally quite easy, especially if the stain is fresh. How long ago did you spill coffee on the jacket?
Earlier today.
And did you apply any detergent or stain remover to the jacket before you brought it here?
No, I just dabbed at it with some napkins and ran it under some cold water.
That's good to hear. It'll make our job easier.
So, how long do you think it'll take to remove the stain?
Our turnaround time for stain removal is usually 2 or 3 days. If the stain is particularly stubborn, we need to make multiple passes. But this one doesn't look too bad. Wait a moment, I'll get the form for you to fill out.
Sounds good. Thanks.
第二部分我们看到动词 dab 指轻轻的擦拭、碰触或是轻拍。例如 You can dab this cream on your burn for pain relief. 你可以将这个药用乳膏轻轻擦拭在烫伤处，减轻疼痛。或是 Winnie likes to dab her sandwich in her soup. Winnie 喜欢将她的三明治沾着汤吃。另外补充一个相似动词 pat, P-A-T, pat, 意思是轻拍。举例来说 The trainer patted his dog on its head. 训练师轻拍狗狗的头。最后我们看到单字 removal. 这个字是名词，指去除或是消除。例如 Rita helped me with the removal of the graffiti on my car. Rita 协助我去除我车子上的涂鸦。另外，除了上面的意思，这个字还可以指移除或是搬迁。我们可以说 Tree removal crews are busy after big storms. 树木搬植团队在暴风雨过后忙碌了起来。
So here in part 2, Dina is visiting the dry cleaners and Dina is going to have the stain looked at by the dry cleaners.
And, of course, as she begins the conversation, excuse me, I spilled coffee on my jacket and I need to have it dry cleaned. If you want somebody else to do it for you, then you use the passive voice here to have something done. I need to have my hair cut. I need to have my car washed, or I need to have my jacket dry cleaned. Can you do it for me?
And she says, do you think you can remove this? And she shows the dry cleaner the stain. And the dry cleaner says, yes, that shouldn't be a problem. This kind of spot cleaning is generally quite easy, especially if the stain is fresh. How long ago did you spill coffee on the jacket? So he basically says to Dina, it's not going to be a problem because it looks like this spot was just made not long ago. Maybe it's still wet, so there shouldn't be a big problem in getting it out.
Right. Stains are also oftentimes referred to as spots. So, yes, the dry cleaner is referring to this as a spot here. Spot cleaning or stain cleaning is generally quite easy. Dina says, earlier today, I spilled coffee on my jacket earlier today. And the dry cleaner says, and did you apply any detergent or stain remover to the jacket before you brought it here? So if you wash clothes, of course, the main thing that you use to clean the clothes is called laundry detergent. Sometimes it's called laundry soap, but detergent is the word we most often use, at least in the United States. It could be liquid detergent or it could be powdered detergent. But the dry cleaner wants to know if she actually used any detergent on the stain. I guess that will help him remove the stain later.
Yes, and a word about detergent, you can also use this word for dish soap. You can say dishwashing detergent for detergent that you use in the dishwasher to wash dishes and glasses and cups and stuff. And Dina says, no, I just dabbed at it with some napkins and ran it under some cold water. So to dab at something is to touch something, to touch a surface lightly several times in continuation to try to clean or to try to get a stain out of that surface. So she used napkins when she was back at the cafe to dab at the stain so that she could try to get that stain out.
Yeah, we use dab oftentimes when we talk about if something has a little bit of liquid involved. You can dab something on something to make it moist, or you can dab the cloth to remove the stain from it. And the dry cleaner says, well, that's good to hear. It seems like you did the right thing, even though the stain is still there, but it'll make our job easier. So, yeah, she sort of did a little bit of stain removal first off. So now the stain isn't so bad. It will be easier to remove the stain now, according to the dry cleaner.
Yes, and Dina says, she asks the dry cleaner, so how long do you think it'll take to remove the stain? And the dry cleaner replies, our turnaround time for stain removal is usually 2 or 3 days. So he says turnaround time. And here, the word turnaround refers to the time it takes for a process to be completed, for a business or an organization to complete a routine process. So, for instance, when I need to get documents printed, I might go to a printing store, and the one that I usually go to promises a 24-hour turnaround service, which means they promise that the service will be completed within 24 hours.
In the old days, before I had the permanent resident certificate, I used to go down to the immigration office and have my visa renewed. So I would ask them, what's the turnaround time? In other words, how long is this going to take to renew my visa, and when can I come back and get the new one? Now, of course, I've got the permanent visa, so I don't need to do that anymore. But yes, indeed, the turnaround time just refers to how long it's going to take for the stain to be removed. How long does she have to leave her denim jacket at the dry cleaners? And removal just refers to the process of getting rid of something. Somebody could be removed from a job. So yeah, removal would refer to somebody getting fired. And the dry cleaner goes on to say, if the stain is particularly stubborn, we need to make multiple passes. A stubborn stain is one that just does not go away, so they'll need to do it several times. A pass just means 1 or 2 tries.
Right, and he continues to say, but this one doesn't look too bad. Wait a moment, I'll get the form for you to fill out. So even though it might take a few passes before stubborn stains can be removed, he says that the stain that's on Dina's denim jacket doesn't look like a stubborn stain, so it shouldn't take so many passes. He should be able to get the stain out and get the jacket back to her within a short amount of time.
And Dina's happy about that. She says, sounds good. And she'll return to pick up her denim jacket in 2 or 3 days, and it will be as good as new, as if the stain were never there. So everybody be careful when you're showing somebody photos on your phone. Don't knock over your cup of coffee, but don't worry, it happens to everybody. I've done that several times myself. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Let's listen now to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。这个月的对话是关于衣物的保养， Caring for clothing。 那么标题里面它用到 care for， 我们来学习它的不同意思哦。好，第一个就是课文的用法，它可以用来指照顾、照料、供给所需，像是 Who's caring for your children while you are at work？ 就是问说你工作的时候是谁在帮你照顾小孩的呢？好，第二个用法呢，它是指喜欢或是想要，那这是稍微比较正式的用法哦。Care for 当喜欢来解释的时候，常常会用在否定陈述里面，像是 He doesn't care for sweets， 意思就是说他不喜欢甜食。那么当做想要来解释的话，常常会用 Would you care for something 来询问对方想不想要某事物，例如Would you care for some tea？ 你要来点茶吗？好，接着看到第一部分对话的小标题是 Crying over spilled coffee。 这个其实是引用自 cry over spilled milk 这个用语，字面意思呢是为了打翻的牛奶而哭，那是用来表达为了无法挽回的事而沮丧后悔不已，把时间呢白白浪费在懊悔上面。好，像我们可能会听到一句话说There's no use crying over spilled milk。 为了这个打翻的牛奶而哭是没有用的，这就类似我们中文说的覆水难收，既定的事实难以改变，你沮丧懊悔也于事无补。我们顺便补充2个跟 spill 有关的片语。好，第一个是 spill one's guts。 这个 gut G-U-T-S 它本来有内脏的意思，那在这边它是带有胆量或是勇气的语义。 Spill one's guts 字面意思呢是溢出某人的胆量，那就是用来表达全盘托出，向别人说出自己的秘密啊，倾诉内心私密的感受。像之前呢有一个脱口秀节目里面有一个小单元叫做 Spill your guts or fill your guts，它其实就类似真心话大冒险，当你被问到问题的时候啊，看你是要掏心掏肺全盘托出，还是你要用恶心的食物来满足你的五脏六腑。第二个补充的是 spill the beans， 字面意思是把豆子撒出来，那这个说法有可能是来自古希腊的投票制度，投票的人会把代表赞成的白色豆子或是这个代表反对的黑色豆子投进罐子里，那如果不小心打翻罐子，就会提前泄露出结果，于是呢 spill the beans 这个片语它就有泄露秘密走漏消息的意思咯。我们后面可以接 about something 来表达泄露某事。好，那有一个类似的用语叫做 spill the tea， 这不是说打翻茶或是把茶洒出来哦， tea 在这个口语当中它其实有八卦丑闻内幕的意思，就类似 gossip， 所以 spill the tea 就是说讲八卦讲出内幕咯。好，那以上是今天的重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Photography. Geraldine is interested in photography and takes a lot of pictures in her free time. Stain. Please be careful carrying that red wine. It can stain. Annoying. Can you please stop making that annoying noise? Removal. Paint removal takes a long time and often requires dangerous chemicals.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.